chart that I'm drawing here. And this is how far the current is going to take me in 1 hour's period of time. So this line represents the current set, the direction. This distance here represents the 1.5 miles that the current will flow in 1 hour's period of time. So what I've done up to this point is I've used set and drift and COG. What I have not yet used is boat speed. And I said my boat speed is 6 knots. So what I do is I set my dividers at 6 miles to represent 6 knots. And I come into this little chartlet that I'm drawing, and I put one point of the dividers at the end of the current vector here, and I put the other end and I draw an arc here. Where that arc intersects the first line, the COG line, that ends up closing this triangle. And this line, this red line now represents the course that I want to steer. And how do I determine that? Well, I take that line that I just drew and I move it to the center of the compass rose and I read it off. And that will tell me, say for example, that it's 60 degrees. So that is now the course to steer in order to get from this point to that point with the current flowing across. This is called a type C problem. Now there's one other piece to it, and that is I've determined the course to steer, CTS. The other thing I want to know is how long will it take me to get to that destination point? In order to determine how long it will take me, I have to know how fast I'm actually going over ground. Up to this point I've been talking about speed through the water. But my speed through the water is 6, but my speed over ground is not 6, it's some different value. So what is my speed over ground? And I get that by measuring the length of the other side of this triangle. I come over here and measure, and let's say that that comes out to be 5.5 knots over ground. I can then use that 5.5 to calculate how long it will take me to get to this distant point. Up to this point, we've been talking about the navigational charts quite a bit. But in addition to the charts, there are the publications that are printed by both government agencies and non-government agencies that give you a lot of additional information to help you do research when you're planning to sail in an area, and also to look up what the rules and regulations are in a particular area. The first of these publications is called Chart Number 1, Nautical Symbols. And this actually gives images of each of the symbols that are used on charts, and it also describes the meaning of those symbols. The second pub that's very important is a light list. And this particular one is a U.S. Coast Guard light list for a particular part of U.S. waters. There's also a list of lights for non-U.S. waters. But both of them are similar from the standpoint that they cover the details of the navigational aids, that is the man-made navigational aids that are put out there to help guide you in the routes that you're sailing, such as color, shape, location, light sequence, and so forth. The next one is the tide tables, and there's a series of these as well. And the tide tables are publications that give you the depth of the water, or the fluctuations in the water level relative to the water level that's shown on the chart. And it's related to time. You notice that this is a 2004 publication. And the next one is a tidal current table, and this is the current flow, current velocity, that's produced by the swings in water level elevation referred to in the tide tables. The next one is the Coast Pilot, and this gives a lot of the rules and regulations for sailing in different areas, so it's very advisable to have these. And the last that I'll show you is a cruising guide. There are publications like this for every area of the world that you might want to sail in. You can do some research on the internet and find out which cruising guides apply. These are written with the intention of helping small boaters, people that are sailing recreational types of boats. This covers the bulk of the information in this course, this along with the textbook. And if you master this information, it will help you plan better passages in the future more thoroughly, more competently. It'll help you to avoid safety hazards. It'll help you deal with limited visibility in rain or fog. And it'll help you to carry on when your electronics have broken down, which happens occasionally. And it will help you decrease your anxiety about areas that you're sailing, and hopefully it will help you increase your joy of sailing.